featuring 6 hours for a lifetime, coming to you from an undisclosed location deep in the Appalachian Mountain Range. This is For the Broken.
Hey guys, this is Jeff, Jamie, and Kevin with 6 hours for a lifetime. Here today going over our second release, Can't Believe My Eyes. So we're going to dive into the lyrics somewhat, the song, but we are going to touch on some things here today. So Can't Believe My Eyes, it was wrote probably a little under 20 years ago. It was one of the last songs that we had wrote together, me and Jamie. The hiatus, yeah. But it was the last song that we had wrote together when we was playing 20 years ago. We're not going to dive too much into the lyrics, the verses, and the chorus. A little bit of the chorus we will. Yeah, there's where we're at today. James.
So, with Can't Believe My Eyes, like he said, we're not going to dive too deep into like the inspiration behind the lyrics, so to speak, because I guess in certain situations some things are left best unsaid. But as for the most part, I think that Can't Believe My Eyes is just a reflection of how good God's been to us. Truthfully, we deserve none of it, and without God we would have nothing. And I think that that's pretty much where Can't Believe My Eyes sprung from.
Yeah, obviously you can hear the song. There's trying times in the verses. There was trying times in our lives, in my life, when we was writing this song. When I was writing the lyrics of this song, I was going through some very trying times in my life. Some things, is like Jamie said, better left unspoken. We won't dive into the deep, dark part of some of those lyrics.
The dirty laundry.
The dirty laundry, but don't want to dive too much into them. But the chorus, if you listen to the chorus, I can't believe my eyes, the things you've done for me. I can't believe my eyes, the grace that you've bestowed upon me, or the grace that you've given me. So through your trying times, we're tried by fire. Our faith is tried by fire. And through these times of trouble, tribulation, temptation, whatever it is, God's grace is sufficient for you. Greater is He that's in you than he that's in the world. You just got to keep pressing through, keep fighting, keep looking to Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith. But what God has done, was doing during that time, and is still doing today, you really you can't believe your eyes at what God does for your life every day of your life. When you wake up at the morning, that's a blessing from God. The job that you go to and you get to enjoy every day. You have the health and the strength to go to work every day. That's God's grace. Whatever you do in life, the good things. That's God's grace.
And two, you have to take in consideration the hardships that we face throughout life. That's also a blessing if you think about how God uses the tribulation in our life to help us grow and help us to build the character to suit the build that I guess to achieve the calling that God has on our lives. You take the things that you were going through when you had written that and then reflect on it now, it probably makes a little bit better sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. Through the things that I was going through when I wrote the song.
Because you wrote the lyrics. I just kind of come in with the music composition.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the things I was going through at the time, we discussed this podcast before we was going to do it, and I told the guys, I said, listen, I think I called Kevin, I said, this song, and of course me and Jamie's talked about it several times since we recorded, and we know the podcast was coming. You know, when I wrote this song, I don't want to dive into the lyrics. I know it's a little selfish, I guess, but you know, you read the story in the book of Genesis of Lot's wife. You know, when God delivered Lot and his family out of Sodom and Gomorrah, he told them not to look back.
Right.
And in this situation, you know, with this song, you know, and immediately when Lot's wife looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. You know, and Christ says in the New Testament, a man that takes hold of the plow, not to look back, for if you look back, you're not fit for the kingdom of heaven. With this song, and it's not every song, with this song, it was just things I was going through that, yeah, it refined me. I got through it. It made me who I am today, so to speak. But
I know.
yeah.
So we actually recorded this once before this episode,
Yeah.
and you called me, and you was really distressed about, you know, we dove a little bit too deeply into what was behind the writing of this, and you even said that it was so painful that you was almost in tears when
I was in tears.
we did this the first time.
Yeah.
And it's such a delicate situation that we've had to revisit this podcast and take another approach at it.
And the podcast was lost when we done it. It vanished.
Yeah.
It's
So that
like it disappeared.
So
Yeah, that was impressive. No, I'm serious, because like I get on there to start editing and moving stuff around, and it literally says it cannot find audio files.
yeah.
I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's never happened to us.
No,
Ever.
no.
With anything we've recorded, just
And it could
gone.
be for a reason.
And I can remember the day we done it that Jamie said when we finished, well, that was
Dark.
depressing and
Yeah.
dark. I said, welcome to the lyrics.
Yeah. So I mean, it is an inspirational song to listen to it. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like it's got that party on feel, but at the end of the day, and you know, all those years ago that you had written, like we were open with one another in our lives, and I can remember the things that you were going through at that point.
Absolutely.
And you know, I would obviously never disclose any of that. I'll take it to the grave, but
Right.
like I know where you were at.
Yeah,
during
I
that
shared
time.
with Kevin, you know, and he heard you know, when we record the podcast, it's like, you know,
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
even all that being said, we didn't really dive too deeply
No.
into it before.
no,
From my perspective, can't believe my eyes. I mean, that knowing the true meaning behind the lyrics, it really strikes a chord with me, because I might not have been going through the same things that you was at the time, but I was lost.
fighting your battle.
So I was battling the demons too,
Mhm.
so to speak. But yeah,
But yeah, God's grace, you know, it's wonderful. Once you give your life to Him, you know, to sum the song up in a nutshell, once you give your life to Christ, all these battles, all these times you fail God, all these times you struggle with personal things and spiritual things. If you just hold on and just sit back and look, you know, your life's blessed.
it really is.
Your life is blessed.
Yeah.
Everyone in this world's life is truly blessed. Once you sit back and just take a breath, take a pause. You know, you've got good health. You know, if you've got good health, if you've got, you know, prospering good, you know, even in them times when your health's not good and you're not prospering that well,
just each breath is a gift.
just that breath's a gift. And also, You know, if you're trusting in God and you know that He's going to see you through in the end of the day, it's going to get better. It always gets better.
Yeah.
If you just keep trusting, keep believing, letting your faith control your life. So yeah,
I think too, I think about in Ephesians where it says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
yeah,
Like that really comes to mind when I listen to Can't Believe My Eyes.
absolutely,
So
absolutely. We battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers of the air, darkness in high places,
yeah,
spiritual wickedness. Your warfare is not, in the end of the day, you're a believer, a born again believer, is not fighting. Even someone that don't know Christ, you know, in all reality, you're letting Satan, as he said, I come to kill, steal, and destroy. If you're lost, you know, and even if you're Christian and trying to live a life for Christ, the devil in the back of your mind, you got to still remember the devil come to kill, steal, and destroy.
Right.
He's seeking in whom he may devour.
that's the arrows that fly by night.
That's the arrow
So-
that flies by night. That's exactly right. That's Satan. He's always lurking, as he, you know, in the book of Job, we've had this discussion here, you know, past few days, you know, past few weeks. Job, have you tried my servant Job?
Right.
Have you tried him? I can't do nothing with him, Satan says to God. You've
Take
got
the
a hedge
hedge
down.
down.
Yeah, yeah. Take the hedge down. I'll get him to curse you to your face. But God believed in Job.
He said, I bet you won't.
I'm gonna lift the hedge. You can do anything you want, but you can't take his life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what Satan did.
Yeah.
But God trusted in Job. He believed in Job. And that's us as, you know, believers. God has confidence in us. When that hedge is lifted and we're tried, you know, God's confident that we will overcome. We will overcome. Even if we fail, it is written, a just man will fall 7 times, but he will rise again.
But that's the thing to understand that it's not by let me think how to say this. It's not by our notion that we can overcome, but it's through Christ that we can overcome
Absolutely.
as a servant unto Christ.
As it is
So
written, we are more than a conqueror through him
Right.
that loved us.
it's like you can do all things through Christ. That sort of
With strength. Yeah,
so-
absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that, you know, Keith's not here to kind of direct what we're doing, unfortunately, but I think that we've touched pretty good on the
Absolutely.
message. So let's talk about the music in the mixing and the process. So you done your thing, and then sent it to me, and then I sit for days on end trying to figure out how to make this, because when we first did the song, it was horrible.
Can't believe my eyes was dry.
I mean, it wasn't horrible, but
Yeah.
It was dry.
the
Kevin,
composition was
Yeah.
lackluster.
Good song, good lyrics,
Right.
good message, but it was dry.
Yeah, and when
Yeah.
we would play it before, it would be like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And we would play it, and then let's move on to the next one as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So I sat for, I don't know, a week probably trying to think of how to do the guitar part, because I was 16 when we wrote the song, and my abilities were still developing as far as a
Absolutely.
musician. And then Kevin, he comes in slapping the on the bass,
Man, I used all 5 strings on that bad
which
boy.
the bass I think that the bass actually makes
Yeah.
it's got the delivery that we were missing all those years
all
ago.
those years ago.
That's
yeah.
why I went lower on, because I played low on just the bottom 2 strings, my 5th string and 4th string.
Yeah.
That's what most of it's all played through to add that extra depth into the song itself.
It's
So-
extremely dynamic now.
Yeah.
Like when I can feel like the, you know, and before it was just kind of,
It was just a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it was boring.
Yeah.
So, and then my attempt was to, I don't know, like, try to come up with some kind of like late 90s kind of feel to it. And then, as always, it's got that 80s feel, like I can't get around it. But, and then with the harmonies that that you and Kevin done, I think that added,
Yeah.
that's what it was missing, it was missing Kevin, just to be truthful.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
seriously.
missing your solo
That-
through the chorus. That was
that
the,
livens up the chorus. a
yes,
lot.
that through the chorus, my opinion, that was the final ingredient to
Right.
make a good
Well, I hate to
pie.
break it to you though. So, like moving forward, everything, because that was at the peak of my ability. But I'm really happy with the composition. I'm happy with the delivery of the vocals. I think that it sounds good. And then one of our mutual friends, Mr. Farley, he reached out to us and he's like, I have to work today, which sucks, but here I'm jamming out driving down the road, and he's a musician as well, so
Yeah.
like he knows music, so hopefully we did the song justice,
Right,
and people enjoy it. But
Yeah, Johnny had kind words this morning.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
so we love Johnny and his family. We appreciate
Yeah.
the support, but
What's y'all's favorite part musically in the song? You like the verses better, the chorus?
I like when you're doing that that thing. However, I don't even know how you manipulated the bass line the way that you did, but I think that's the best part myself.
I think you mixed it well, Kevin. Just the flow of it with Jamie coming in hard at first, and then we just kind of leveled out. All right, we're gonna set the tone hard here, and then
I like how it comes in the beginning.
yeah, I do too.
Like it's
Yeah.
real in your face, and then it kind of just smooths out.
Ah,
and here
here's-
comes Mr. Smooth Operator with his vocals on
And
there.
then too, the way that you doubled up the vocals for him,
Yeah.
I think that was
Yeah.
phenomenal. I think
Yeah.
that really
Yeah,
added
that helped.
to.
Yeah,
I like the bridge. I love the bridge a lot. I know the drums are,
I love it.
I think, just that kind of, because the bass is real simple through that part. The guitar is very simple. And then you're just going through, and the drums kind of just add that extra effect before we go back into the loudness of the chorus again.
And it kind of blows my mind too to think about how you do the mix on these drums, because when I was in stage band in high school and marching band too, our instructor, he would always get on to us. He would say, drums are meant to be felt, not heard. And this has stuck with me throughout my life as a musician. Drums are meant to be felt, not heard. So I think with percussion as a whole, it's hard to do that, because it's either too loud in your face or it's not loud enough. And you figured out the pressure, how to convey the pressure. And I think that it's phenomenal as far as the mix goes on the drums, because it's just, I don't think that you could have done any better, because when I listen to it, I get that pressure instead of that noise.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
Okay, it's all in compressors on there.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I compress each one of the drums, and then you get the volume loud with the compressor to where it cuts off at a certain level, and then I can just lower it down
Yeah.
and get it to fit into the mix of the song itself
right.
better. Because like you said, it is supposed to be felt more than heard.
Sure.
Now on some parts, yeah, you're going to hear, maybe we want the snare to clap a little louder at that point or something like that. But you got the drums that should be your feeling, and then everything else is your melody and your rhythm and all of that stuff. So it should lead everybody through
Yeah.
the song.
This guy was a genius though that told me these things, because even in marching band, like I would play percussion in marching band from time to time, and that was the one thing that I've taken all these years, is that little quote that drums should be felt, not heard. And I hated hearing that, because he was like, you're playing too loud. I'm like, how are you playing too loud? But he also said the only time that you can have too much fuel in airplanes when you're on fire. So he was a genius. But well done on the mix. Like I think you, as usual, you took it further than what I would have ever imagined that it could be.
You done good, Kevin.
Thank you.
As always,
Y'all did
like
good
you
too,
are the
man.
Renaissance man when it comes
Yeah.
to this. So.
Keep up
I
the
think
good
your
work.
vocals were really I really, really do.
Yeah.
Like because whenever I doubled your vocals, that was different vocal tracks.
Yeah, two
It was
different
two
tracks.
different tracks.
Yeah.
And put one in each ear, and I think it sounds
If
great.
you've not listened to through headphones yet, be sure to, because it's a
Yeah.
little different than listening to the
Gives you
radio. or
different
the truck.
dynamic,
Yeah,
yeah.
you'll hear
How
all
many
kinds of
hours do you think you dedicated to the mix?
Here we go
I
with the
hate doing
hours.
that.
So
I
I'm going to
never
do
did.
this every time that we release a song.
80 hours.
I'm going to do this.
Well, that's the thing, because I'll sit down. Like I was doing it last night.
Yeah,
I mean, I was messing around with Believe, which is one y'all will hear eventually, and messing around with something else that Jeff just wrote. Just messing around. And the next thing I know, my wife was in the bedroom with me. She was sitting on the bed watching TV. And I look back and I'm like, what are you doing now? She's like, watching Scream 3. I said, you already went through the first 2 screams and I've gotten this far. So, I mean, I could say I've sat down and put 20 hours or 40 hours or 60 or whatever, but I never really know 100%. I just sit there until it feels till it feels good to me. But it ain't nothing for me to. Once I get started, 6 hours later, I'm like, well, maybe I should probably eat something and go to bed because I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
I will share one little thing about the lyrics.
Sure, go ahead.
There in the break, I looked through all the pain, and then I realized, sometimes you gotta look through the pain, look through your sorrow, and then you really realize, things. You see clearly that all you've given me, my sons, my wife, my everything. I can't believe my eyes. Apostle Paul said, whatever state I find myself in, I'll be content, no matter what situation. Talk about a man that was thrown in jail, shipwrecked,
Yeah.
beat, eventually head chopped off. But whatever situation he was in, he said, be content, And he also wrote, be content with just food and raiment, But that, just my family, my life, my everything, I can't believe my eyes, God. Why, you're like, why are you doing this for me? I think we're all that way.
Oh yeah.
But on that lyric, I will share this. The lyric, my sons, my wife, my everything. Originally, when it was wrote, when I first wrote it, my oldest son was probably around 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, he was a little fella.
Yeah, he's a little fella.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 years old. And I got him every weekend or every other weekend. Sometimes 2 or 3 weekends in a row. It was working good, and everything. And it was my son, my life, my everything. And then after we were still playing, and then I had got married, and then Keith was born.
Yep.
And that's when the lyrics was changed. And my sons, my wife, my everything. Of course, now Evan's around,
Yeah.
Years later, Evan was born, me and Becky started over later on, but that lyric was changed then when me and Rebecca was married and Keith was born. So,
And
yeah.
it should have changed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's not to take away from
Yeah.
the original direction of it. It just added to it.
It
I
was
mean,
adjustment of life.
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know? I
Yeah.
mean, just like we were talking about earlier, the song is, whenever you think, you know the meaning behind it and everything, yeah, it can be kind of depressing whenever you think about it, but, you turn your life around, you give your life to the Lord, you're always going to have the demons chasing you.
Absolutely.
They're always going to be
Yeah.
there chasing you.
Daily warfare.
But it's how you prepare for battle.
Amen.
You strengthen yourself, you strengthen your soul, you trust in God that God's going to be there to protect you, because no matter what, they're still going to be there knocking on the door trying to get in. And you put your faith in God and God's grace, like
Yeah.
the song says,
Yeah.
and that right there, that leads you through everything. Because no matter how old I get and how many years I've put behind me, there's things that still bother me from time to time, and I just have to put it in the hands of God.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that goes back to the Apostle Paul. You know, he did find, he was content. But I think it was him that also said that, you know, to die is gain.
To live is Christ,
Yeah.
to die is gain.
So he had the mindset that,
If I live unto the Lord. If I die, I die unto the Lord. Whether I live or die, I am the Lord's.
so he had that mindset that whatever happens, I'm taken care of. I'm a winner either way,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So, and then too, you have to look at the hardships that we do go through. Without the hardships, we wouldn't know what the pleasure is,
Yeah.
you know, in the end result. And, you know, I know people right now that are going through such difficult times, and it's easy to say, I've got your back, you know, you're going to get through this, but put the shoe on the other foot, how difficult it is to keep that
It's
mindset.
tough.
And if you know, as the listeners, if you know somebody that's struggling and dealing with hardship, I think it's so important that we pray for those people. And you don't even have to tell them, I'm praying for you, but just be conscious when you pray and remember them. And if you see them or if you talk to them, just express your love, and hopefully there's a brighter tomorrow. You know, we've rambled on about this song, so you
All
good?
right,
All
well.
hearts and minds clear.
Well, this is Jeff, Jamie, and Kevin. We are 6 Hours for a Lifetime. Tune in next time. We'll be diving into the lyrics of our next